So what's your prediction for Canelo Charlo fight?
I got Canelo. A good big man beat a good little man. Why the f*** you fighting Charlo? David Benavidez right there. Right now, he done did what he done in boxing. Canelo done everything he had to do in boxing. Several-time world champ. First undisputed super middleweight champ to been in with the Killers. Obviously, first battle Hall of Famer. Why he ain't fighting Benavidez? That's gonna be the money fight. The Mexican crowd gonna eat that up, cause it's on both sides. Benavidez, PBC. I remember they was talking shit about PBC not too long ago. Everybody, yeah, PBC trash. PBC got all the killers. PBC got all the killers. What chance Crawford at right now? Canelo. Where the killers at right now? Stop me when I lie. You understand what I'm saying? Think about that. PBC, what Benavidez at right now? Let's think about the biggest fights in boxing and who they with. Think about it. Today, not all of them, but a whole lot of them. PBC, Premier Boxing. They need to give them guys their respect, man. Sam Watson, Marcus Brandon, Al Heyman. Give them boys their respect, man. Stop hating on them. But guess what? They're not gonna do that. They're not gonna give them the respect they deserve. They're not gonna do that. They rather sandpaper Alliance has than give PBC the respect they deserve. I'm not lying. Look at the bullshit happen with Top Rank. Look at the bullshit happen with Matthew. You never hear Al Heyman having all these debates with his fighters like you hear from Bob Arum and fighters cussing him out on interviews and shit. They ain't cussing Al out in interviews. You know what I'm saying? They talking shit about Oscar. And Oscar one of my favorite fighters of all time. They talking shit about Oscar in interviews. His fighters are talking shit about it. They talking shit about Eddie Hearn in interviews. His fighters are. His fighters are. You don't really hear that on the PB side like that. You don't really hear that like that. You don't really hear that like that. Nothing is 100% pristine clean, but you don't hear shit like that on the PBC side. That says something. That means something right there. That means something right there. That means something right there. Think about it. You feel me? They doing something over there right. Right now they got the monopoly. PBC got the monopoly. Because Chance Crawford right now, as we speak, PBC.
Final word. 19 months ago, the whole boxing community looked forward to the arrival of a powerful new enterprise which promised a chance to restore boxing to broader exposure and greater sports world prominence, more in keeping with its glorious past. More than $500 million in venture capital was stockpiled to be put to use in a daring plan to buy prime time on a wide variety of television networks. The series would be called Premier Boxing Champions. The goal was to demonstrate there was an unobserved audience that would erupt to ultimately incentivize those television networks to reverse the equation and pay for the fights. As many as 200 fighters bought in, among them some of the most accomplished young fighters on the planet. Keith Thurman, Adrian Broner, Danny Garcia, Adonis Stevenson, and Mikey Garcia were all potential top 10 pound-for-pound guys who had been given main event exposure here on HBO. Deontay Wilder had already won a heavyweight belt. The pièce de résistance, Errol Spence, came off the 2012 United States Olympic team. Could it really only have been a year and a half? Seems longer. And maybe because despite the extraordinary accumulation of talent and the seeming abundance of money, competitive fights like Leo Santa Cruz versus Abner Maris and Keith Thurman versus Sean Porter have been few and far between. For the most part, PBC stars have been given faint-hearted matchups against lackluster opponents, followed by long layoffs with predictable results in TV ratings and advertising sales. You might have thought that Spence's windfall audience of more than 6 million viewers in the NBC time slot just prior to Rio's closing ceremony would have given PBC a rejuvenated bounce. But in late September, NBC announced that 2 primetime PBC cards in December were dropped for now, and along with them, 3 shows on NBC Sports Network. For the last 3 months of 2016, there are no scheduled PBC shows. If PBC disappears, there'll be an urge to see that as a devastating loss. In truth, it was predictable. Nearly 40 years of delivery via subscription channels like this one and our primary competitor have accustomed boxing's audience to seeing a continuous story, uninterrupted by commercials. On commercial television, the mini dramas in the corners between rounds are visible only as taped flashbacks. As live entertainment, it's not the same thing. Boxing's next shot in the arm will emerge gradually as the high-profile and highly skilled fighters on the PBC roster begin to achieve free agency and reintegrate into the upper landscape. In the best of all possible worlds, someday Thurman and Spence will match up with Terrence Crawford. Deontay Wilder will fight Anthony Joshua, and Adonis Stevenson will at long last face Sergey Kovalev. The path to that goal will require the unique brand of ingenuity, bravery, and passion that fuels real boxing promoters. People who are capable of doing one of the world's hardest jobs. As we can now see, there's a great deal more to it than merely raising and spending $500 million. Thanks for being with us on this edition of The Fight Game. Be on the look.